Before meeting my parents for the first time, I asked my girlfriend to dress a bit modestly. She rolled her eyes and said, "Don't be ridiculous. I can wear what I want. I am not your property." That night, my parents pulled me aside and said one sentence that changed everything. "It's strange how you can know someone for a whole year, think you're building a life together, and then watch it all unravel in one quiet moment over dinner." My moment came on a Saturday night, the first time my girlfriend, Megan, was meeting my parents. I wasn't nervous exactly, just aware. Aware that my world and hers were built from entirely different materials, and I was about to find out if they could exist under the same roof. Why parents are simple people in the best way. My dad worked 40 years as a master carpenter, a man whose handshake meant more than most contracts. My mom was a nurse, gentle but firm. They're kind, humble, and deeply traditional. Their values are respect, modesty, and the quiet dignity of a good life. Their home isn't a place for drama or flash. It's calm, steady, and warm. Megan was the opposite of calm. She lived her life online, a self-made lifestyle influencer, always performing for an invisible audience. Our relationship was a constant tug-of-war between my quiet private life and her loud public one. I told myself I loved her because I believed the version of her that existed off camera was the real one. I was wronged out a week before the dinner. I tried to bring up what she might wear. I knew it was risky, say it the wrong way, and it would blow up. "Hey," I said one evening while she was scrolling through an online boutique. I was thinking about Saturday. My parents are old-fashioned, you know? That blue dress you wore to my company dinner last year would be perfect. You looked amazing in it. It was a gentle suggestion wrapped in a compliment. Low stakes, I thought. But her reaction was anything but. She slammed her laptop shut, eyes flashing. "Are you serious right now? You're telling me what to wear?" "No, Megan," I said carefully. "I'm just trying to help. First impressions matter to them. I want them to see you, not just the outfit. They will see me," she snapped, standing up. "All of me. I'm not dressing like some librarian just to make your backwards parents happy. Don't be weird. I can wear what I want. I'm not your property." And there it was. She turned a small, respectful request into a personal rebellion. A feminist crusade against an oppression that didn't exist. I didn't argue. I didn't yell. I just felt something in me sink. I already knew that dinner would be a disaster. When she showed up Saturday evening, it was clear she was dressing for war. Her dress was a tight, black, leather-like thing with a neckline that plunged almost to her navel and a slit that climbed to her hip. It belonged in a nightclub, not my parents' dining room. "What do you think?" she asked, eyes daring me to object. I said nothing. Just grabbed my jacket. The dinner that followed was one of the longest nights of my life. The moment we stepped through my parents' door, I could feel the temperature drop. My mom, usually the warmest person on earth, froze for half a second before forcing a polite smile. My dad just nodded once, slow and unreadable. They said nothing about her outfit, but their disapproval filled the room like smoke. Megan felt it too. Instead of trying to bridge the gap, she decided to burn the bridge down. She was loud, attention-grabbing, talking endlessly about influencer parties and online drama. She kept taking selfies at the table, oblivious to my mother's horrified silence. At one point, she scrolled through Instagram and burst out laughing. "Oh my God, you have to see this," she said, shoving her phone toward us. "Look at her outfit. So desperate. She's trying way too hard." That was when my father finally spoke, calm but firm. "We have a rule in this house, Megan," he said quietly. "We don't speak poorly of others at our dinner table." She stared at him, stunned, like no one had ever told her no before. Then she laughed, short and ugly, rolled her eyes, and went back to scrolling. The rest of the dinner crawled by in heavy silence. My anger simmered quietly. She wasn't just embarrassing me anymore. She was disrespecting my parents in their own home, acting like a guest who wanted to prove she couldn't be tamed. The drive home was silent. She was furious, and my parents, of all people, for being judgmental and rude. I was too disgusted to speak. When we pulled up to our apartment, I told her I was going back to my parents to help clean up. She scoffed and slammed the door. Back at my parents' house, The politeness had faded. My mom stood at the sink, scrubbing a pot, her back to me. The silence said everything. My dad was sitting in his old armchair in the living room, staring into the cold, empty fireplace. I started to speak, the words tumbling out. Mom, Dad, I'm so sorry about tonight. I had no idea she would. My dad lifted a hand, stopping me mid-sentence. His eyes met mine. Tired, steady, full of a quiet kind of wisdom that comes only from years of living and watching people lose themselves. He and my mom led me into the den, away from the sound of running water and clattering dishes in the kitchen. Then he said the line that changed everything. Son, he began, his voice low and calm. You don't build a life with a woman who looks at your family and sees an audience instead of a home. It wasn't harsh. It wasn't even a command to break up with her. It was just a simple truth that sliced through all my denial, all the excuses I'd been using to protect something already broken. Megan wasn't trying to join my family. She wanted to use it, turn it into another set piece in the ongoing performance of her online life. And in that instant, the decision crystallized. The relationship wasn't just damaged. It had betrayed everything I believed mattered. My loyalty no longer belonged to her. It belonged to the values my parents had taught me: respect, honesty, humility. That I didn't end things that night. That would have been too easy, too loud. An emotional explosion would have played right into her story of me being controlling and dramatic. No, my answer had to be quiet, deliberate, and just as soul-crushing as the disrespect she'd shown my family. I went back to our apartment late that night and slipped into bed without a word. For the next month, I became a ghost in my own life. I didn't fight, didn't lecture, didn't try to fix anything. I simply disappeared from the relationship. The man she knew, the one who solved her problems and handled her chaos, was gone. What remained was a polite, detached roommate who happened to share her bed. The first thing to go was the money. We kept our finances mostly separate, but we shared one joint credit card for household expenses. Over time, it had turned into a personal slush fund: clothes, brunches, and the endless stream of products she needed for her brand. I called the credit card company and reported her card as lost. When she came to me days later, fuming because it had been declined, I looked up from my book with mild surprise. That's weird, I said casually. You should probably call the company and sort that out. She expected me to fix it, to spend hours on hold like I always did. But I just went back to reading. She spent the evening battling automated menus, realizing for the first time what it was like to solve her own financial mess. It was small, but it was the first crack in her illusion of control. Next came my withdrawal from her online world. I had always been her reluctant cameraman, the one behind the lens, taking 100 pictures until she found the one that looked effortlessly perfect. The weekend after the dinner, she appeared in a new outfit, phone in hand. Babe, can you take some photos for me? The lighting's perfect right now. Sorry, I said without looking up from my laptop. I'm busy with work. She froze. I never said no before. But it'll only take a minute. I need this post up. You're creative, Megan, I said flatly. I'm sure you'll figure it out. For the next hour, she tried taking selfies with a tripod and a timer, her frustration building with each failed shot. The effortless image she built her life around was suddenly work. Real, frustrating work. Then I began to step back socially. No more influencer events. No more dinners with her friends. I reconnected with my own people, the ones she dismissed as boring. Weeks later, she finally confronted me. What's wrong with you? She snapped one night. You're acting weird. Distant. You're not helping me. You barely talk to me. Is this still about that stupid dinner with your parents? I'm just reassessing my priorities, I said evenly. And I'm not one of them? She shot back, wounded and incredulous. You made it very clear that night what your priorities are, I told her. Yourself. Your image. Your right to do whatever you want, no matter who it hurts. I'm just taking a page from your book. I'm prioritizing myself. The final blow came quietly. A real estate listing on my laptop. Our lease was up in 2 months, and we had been talking about buying a house together. I would have been paying for it entirely. That evening, she walked in and saw me at the dining table, looking over blueprints. What's that? She asked, a flicker of excitement crossing her face. The plans for my new house, I said. Our new house, you mean? I finally looked up, my face unreadable. No, I said simply. Mine. I'm not renewing this lease. I'll be moving into my new place next month. You'll need to find somewhere else to live. The reality finally hit her. It wasn't a fight anymore, not a power play or a phase. It was over. Completely. For the first time, she understood what it felt like to lose control. No home. No safety net. No one left to perform for. The meltdown was spectacular. She cried, screamed, begged, promised to change, swore she'd apologize to my parents, even said she were whatever I wanted if it would make things right. But it was all theater, a last-ditch performance to save the comfortable life she had so carelessly thrown away that I didn't flinch. I had spent a month emotionally detaching myself, piece by piece, and her tears couldn't reach me anymore. I told her calmly that my decision was final and that she had 30 days to make her arrangements. Her parents, who she clearly called for backup, were no help. After the embarrassment of that dinner, and after I'd quietly explained to her father exactly what had happened and why I was leaving, they had nothing to say. They were ashamed, disappointed, and they didn't take her side. She tried to rally our mutual friends against me, painting herself as the heartbroken victim, abandoned without reason. But the story was already known. Everyone had heard about her behavior that night. Her version of events fell flat. The sympathy she was hoping for never came. In the end, she had to do the one thing she had spent her entire adult life avoiding. She had to go home. She packed her things and moved back in her childhood bedroom. 30 years old, with a failed influencer career, no savings, and no direction, but it's been a year now. I live in a new house I designed and helped build myself. It's everything I wanted, peaceful, steady, full of quiet satisfaction. My parents come over for dinner every Sunday, and the laughter feels lighter now. A few months ago, I started seeing someone new. Her name is Rachel. She's a teacher, warm, funny, and grounded in a way that still surprises me. When she met my parents for the first time, she arrived in a simple, elegant dress and spent the evening asking my dad about his woodworking and my mom about her garden. She didn't see an audience. She saw a family. And she fit right in. A few weeks ago, I ran into Megan at a coffee shop. I was there with Rachel. She walked in with a few of her old friends, the same ones who had once cheered her on, who had helped feed the illusion. She looked different, tired, bitter. Her smile was stretched too tight, her laughter hollow. She spotted me across the room. She saw me with Rachel, saw the way Rachel's hand rested gently on my arm as she laughed at something I said. She saw the ease, the affection, the quiet joy. She saw the life she could have had, the one she had once dismissed as dull and small. Her fake smile faltered for just a heartbeat, and in that moment, I saw it, pure, unmistakable regret. Then she turned and walked out without ordering anything. That night, my father's words came back to me. You don't build a life with a woman who looks at your family and sees an audience instead of a home. He hadn't just changed my mind. He had changed my life. That I finally understood that I hadn't been dating a difficult woman. I had been trying to build a future with someone whose values were fundamentally opposed to my own. And you can't build anything lasting on a foundation that's cracked at its core. Megan wanted to be the star of her own show, and she was. But in the end, she learned the hardest truth of all. It's a lonely performance when there's no one left in the audience.